Welcome everybody to the Wheelie Good Podcast. My name is Taylor and I am joined by Lukas, and we are going to talk all things wheel for the next 21 and a bit days at the very least. We're going to have some rest day recaps and recaps, but we're going to have some rest day podcasts. We're going to have some podcasts every day for the tour. Basically like everybody who's starting a Tour de France podcast at the moment, but we are two complete idiots who don't know wheel at all.
But we will have the most entertaining takes. I can promise you that.
Yeah, if you want entertaining and most likely wrong takes, this is the place to get them.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
So, the Tour de France 2024, right?
Yes,
We're going to start off with a brief history, obviously. Jonas Vingegaard has won the last two editions. Tadej Pogacar has won the two before that and has finished second in the last two Tour de France's.
Yep.
And it's going to be those two fighting it out, let's be honest.
Basically, yeah. I mean, I have my opinion already, but I'll wait. I'll wait till a bit later. But yeah. Do you want to look at the teams maybe, just to see real quick. Let's start with Visma, Team Visma Lisa Bike, or Jumbo Visma as I call them, because honestly it's a trash name. Vingegaard, obviously, the GOAT. I think how do you pronounce it? Jurgensen? I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like it's gonna be, I guess, him, maybe Ayuso to fight for the white jersey, potentially. Or if it's possible. Is anyone really else?
Yeah, they've had a late change to their team. There was Sepp Kuss in there, but he got COVID.
Oh yeah.
Similar to a certain other GC competitor. But yeah, he has been ruled out and replaced with Bart Lemon, who isn't bad. Like he's in his first year at Jumbo Visma, or Visma Lease Bike. Yeah. And he's not a terrible rider, but I think he's going to be under a lot of pressure to perform. He's pretty good at climbing, and he's a decent all-rounder. But again, it's a lot of pressure on a guy who's never raced a Grand Tour before.
Yeah, do be. Is he Dutch? No way. Yeah. That doesn't mean anything. And
they'll also be going for sprints, most likely with Laporte or Van Aert, maybe.
Yeah.
Or do you think they're going to be chained to Jonas?
Nah. I think Van Aert will go for a stage win at some point. Probably multiple, actually. It's my guess. I mean, it's Van Aert, so. It has to happen.
Yeah, classic Van
Aert. Then we got UAE. The second best team in the tour.
And their team is completely stacked. I mean, it's just name after name after name. We've got Almeida, we've got Ayuso, we've got Pogacar, we've got Pollet, we've got Sivakov, Soler, Wellens, Yates. That is the elite 8 that they're bringing. Much. I mean, it's just like, you know, when you're in like season whatever of FIFA career mode, and you've just kind of got all of the best players on one team.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's kind of what's going on here.
Basically, yeah.
But
it's not cheating. But
I'm very interested in to see how the sort of dynamic is between all of the big leaders.
Yeah. Do you think?
Yeah, I think Pogacar obviously is the main guy in that team, but for sure, I'm very intrigued to see if the likes of Almeida and Ayuso can and will work for him.
Yeah. You think they're going to go for like stage wins as well, or purely GC?
I think they're going to try and go purely for GC. Obviously, if Pogacar loses a lot of time on Jonas in a short space, then they might switch and go for stage wins with Ayuso and such, maybe even Pollet on a good day. But I think you've got to go all in on GC. And I'm just really worried about the team dynamic in that regard.
True.
Almeida's. I'm not sure about Almeida as a teammate. He was in the Tour of Switzerland with Adam Yates, and he did some pacing, like he was really good, and then got dropped, and then paced himself back up to Adam Yates, which told me he's not really emptied the tank, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I wonder whether he might be doing that with Pogacar this year.
That could be, I mean, make entertaining. So, I mean, I'll take it. So we're going to see UAE train this year instead of Visma train, or Ineos train. Lovely. They got a new name.
And it's a big job as well for Pollitt and Wellens to kind of control on the flat, because they've only got 1.5 riders really to do that.
How do you pronounce that team? Jaco some Alula, great.
What were you going to go for?
AI team, damn, okay, crazy stuff. Simon Yates.
I mean,
washed.
Third at last year's. Fourth
washed.
at last year's,
washed.
never mind.
Nah, washed.
We need to get talking about the big rider though in this team. Yeah, Christopher Juhl Janssen.
Exactly. To go himself. Gotta watch out
Could
for him.
actually go for a stage win. He had
Yeah,
one
for
very
sure.
good stage in the
For sure.
Dauphiné.
I hope so.
But,
Would be nice.
but they've also got Groenewegen, and I think that's going to be their main guy. I think Simon Yates will be left to kind of do his own thing.
Yeah, definitely.
But Groenewegen, I think, is their main rider.
Yeah, for sure.
Dutch national champion,
Yeah.
good sprinter.
Yeah.
Just as long as he doesn't barrier anybody, I think we're good in that regard.
For sure.
I don't think he'll win a stage, but obviously we'll get onto that later. But I think he'll be up there in the sprints.
So, Ineos, they look better than last year, I would say, in terms of riders and stuff. But in terms of like a top 3, nah, doubt it. I mean, Thomas.
Yeah.
He did all right last year, I would say, but like, you know, age, the legs don't work like they used to before.
Ed Sheeran bar. But yeah, he obviously did good in the Giro, but I'm not sure. I'm not very high on Thomas. I've got to be honest.
I'm still surprised
I hope
how
he's not leader.
Bernal fell so far from having won the Tour de France. So suddenly he just can't do anything.
He's not quite like Froome yet.
Yeah.
But
like,
it's kind of disappointing.
yeah,
I think he could have been good. I
Yeah.
don't think he's Vingegaard or Pogacar level, but
No.
like, in that second category, he would have been crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I'm not sure who they're going to go with in terms of, are they going to go with Bernal, or are they going to go with Rodriguez, or are they going to go with Pidcock because they're a British team?
True. I think they'll just wait to see who does the best, like the first like big stages, I guess, most likely, or maybe just the first stage in general.
Yeah, and I mean the ruler package is semi decent. Kwiatkowski's obviously an absolute stud. And he's like, his age might be slowly catching up to him, but he's still a crazy good rider at this level. Castro's good, Diploos is good. Just a very solid team without anybody that's really insane level. Like UAE have a very solid team, but have a ridiculous rider. I think Ineos just have a very solid team.
Yeah, true. Little trick. We have the man. Mats Pedersen. I'm going to be gassing up everything he's riding Yuri now. This man's going to win at least one stage. Well, actually, that's for later. Let's not talk about that now. Well, how many do I know? I know Bernard, De Klerk, Pedersen, Skruns, Stuyven, I don't really know. What's he going to know as well? I don't really know Gibbons or Verona. I don't think so.
So Gibbons is a relatively decent lead-out man, I'd say.
Oh, nice.
I think he's going to be like the main lead-out guy for Pedersen this year.
Mm-hmm.
He was on, I think, was it Lotto a couple of years ago? He wasn't really like amazing,
Right.
but he seems to have got better as the years gone on with Little Trek. He obviously, Pedersen won one of the stages at the Dauphiné fairly easily, and that was because of a good lead out from Gibbons.
Oh, nice.
And Verona's kind of a luxury domestique. They paid, I think, a lot of money for him from Movistar, and he can do mountains and flats, but like he's not crazy good. There was a time where he was like one of the best domestiques in the world, and he's kind of fallen from that a little bit. Like he's not terrible. Obviously, he's gonna, I think, be their best climbing domestique for Ciccone, but yeah, he's not as good as he was at Movistar. But he's kind of an all rounder. He can do everything.
Okay, interesting. HE2R Land Mondial team. Gal. I know him, but I know him, but he's not like that much in my mind, to be honest. This is mostly for Sam Bennett now, this team. Or am I wrong?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a split between Sam Bennett and Gal.
Yeah.
Obviously, Gal had a really good year, top 10 in the Tour last year. But I think a lot of that team is going to be for Bennett as well. They've kind of brought him in as their big rider for this year.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. I'm intrigued to see that Ben O'Connor's been left out of this team. And I think a lot of people were surprised as well by that.
I know one.
So they're all in for Gal this year, and Gal has been not as good as I thought he was going to be. To be honest, he's not had a superb year, but I guess he can turn it on in the Tour. Like at any point, he's a really, really good climber. But I'm intrigued to see what they do with the rest of the team, because it's not necessarily just missed French riders like it was. So Godon is very good if it comes to a like really difficult sprint. Godon and Lepera are both very good. Lepera is French champion this year, he's going to be wanting to win, I think. And the French jersey is pretty cool. Like it's all decked out in the French flag. Peters and Brodom are going to help out Gal.
Yeah, for sure.
Bruno Armorai is very good. And almost won a stage at the Dauphiné this year. So they've got a good rounded team. Again, they've kind of got that UAE problem of where they've got nobody that's really very good this year. Gal, again, is probably their best chance. But there's nobody who I'm guarantee circling for a stage here.
Bahrain victorious. What do we have? We have well, I could see personally Mohoric winning a stage, but aside from that, I'm not sure about this team completely.
It's not moving me.
No, it's very stale. Very stale.
Yeah, it feels like they've had this team for 4 years. And like
they've
just made no transfers. I think they've got like good riders. Bilbao's obviously good. Buitrago's good. They might be an exciting team if they go for stages. Because I think they've got a lot of people who could win a stage. But I'm worried that they're going to go for GC with somebody like Haig or Buitrago or Bilbao even. But hopefully they get freedom, because if they do, the team could go crazy.
For sure.
Like, Poles is still very good for his age. Fred Wright, I've got to rep my Brits in the same way that you rep your Danes.
Yeah.
Fred Wright is crazy good. He's just not one. He's a bit like Tottenham. Like, they're quite good when you watch them, and they're quite fun to watch.
Yeah.
But they've not won anything.
Right.
Which is the main issue.
Yeah.
It's going to probably be a lot of football references. That's my second football reference in like 15 minutes.
It works in sports.
Obviously, Mohoric is crazy.
Yeah.
As well.
For sure. Soudal quick step with the man who's going to crash in stage number 20, Remco Evenepoel.
Hey, maybe stage 21. Let's not discount the time trial.
True. I mean, the team is like, it's pretty good. Especially because we have Casper Pedersen.
The more Danes in the team you have, the better it is in Lucas's eyes.
Exactly. You get it.
I think the new big name here is Mikel Landa. That's kind of been their big signing this year.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised they didn't take a sprinter as well, because Tim Merlier is crazy.
Yeah.
And I think he left Alpecin because he wanted to do the Tour de France. And Soudal Quickstep have not taken him to the Tour de France. So
damn.
That's gone well. He did do the Giro this year, so maybe there's a little bit of fatigue in that regard, but I'm not so sure. It's just all climbers, really, and rulers. For Viker, he had, I believe, a crash before the team presentation, so they turned up with 7 riders instead of 8. But I think he's going to be starting on, tomorrow. So there's no real issue there, I think.
Sure.
For Viker, Hirt, Landa are going to be the main mountain domestiques. But yeah, it's a bit weird taking Casper Pedersen, Gianni Moscon, etc. If you got no sprinter at the end who's going to do anything. I mean, they might be active in like the flat breakaways, but
maybe
again, I'm not sure.
Nah.
The fall off of Quick Step in the sprint department is pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's weird, but we ain't team captains, so can't choose. So we still got teams. Red Bull Bora hand scorer with Primož Roglic, the man who I'll wait. I'll keep to not get too far. Anyways, well.
You should have saved your Remco crash quote for Primož Roglic, to be honest, as well. He's that kind of guy.
Very.
I hope he doesn't. I hope he can string together a full Tour de France.
That'd be nice.
But again, he's done it too many times for it to be pure coincidence.
Yeah, at this point.
Yeah. What do you think about their climbing team? I thought they had better riders that they could use. Yeah.
I mean, Hindley and Jonkels I find pretty decent, as of us all. But they could use a little bit more strength, I feel like, for Roglic. I mean, comparing to this man, UAE, it's lacking a little bit. That's for sure. But
I think they had. I'm surprised Danny Martinez didn't go, but
true.
Again, he raced the Giro, so it's a bit tough. Lipovitz, you might not have heard of him because it's his first big year this year, but he's been crazy good as a domestique. I don't think they could pick Kamna because he's still injured, and I think he's looking unlikely to do the Vuelta as well. So that's tough for Kamna, but. They've got the same issue really as Soudal Quickstep. Danny Van Poppel's okay sprinter. Again, not brilliant. Not their best Welsford that they could have brought. yeah, they've brought a sprinter, pretend sprinter, and a couple of lead out riders for him, but I'm not sure whether he's gonna really be challenging at the top.
I don't know if he's gonna pop off.
Wait, damn pop off.
Oh, right. Moving
And that's
on.
why you listen to the podcast.
Yes, sir. Subscribe or follow. I don't really know what you do. It depends why you see this. Anyways, Groupama
Seeing your podcast.
FDJ. It's French. Let's skip it. No, I'm kidding. I mean,
It is very French. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not totally French.
no, but sort of. Mostly, I guess. They got cool.
Again, this team does not move me at all.
No. Nah.
It'd be interesting to see who goes for GC, whether
Yeah.
it's Gordu or Lenny Martinez. Martinez has a lot of rumours surrounding him right now, I think. I don't know whether he's penned a new deal at FDJ yet, but Bahrain were the rumoured team to be after him, and that'd be a good signing for Bahrain. But if I'm FDJ, perhaps I'm wanting him to have a little bit of a more low-key Tour de France, just so he can,
Sure.
stay out of the limelight a bit. So I think they're going to go for Gordu for that reason.
Yeah, most likely.
But yeah, the team around him, pretty mid.
Yeah, basically.
Madouas isn't the guy he was.
Nah.
I'm a big fan of Genietz, but I think I'm the only one in that camp. Gregoire's good, young rider,
Yeah.
but again, it's nobody really super crazy,
Nah.
like, helping him.
Yeah. Sadly, but he wouldn't win anyway, to be fair. But Alpin de Queen. Wait, how do you pronounce it again? De Queen. I'll let you do it.
Opposite the Koenig,
Yes.
they bring a very, very, very good flat team this year. I mean, need I say any more? Mathieu Van Der Poel, Jasper Philipsen. That's all you need to know, really.
Oui.
Although, Søren Krauth, go off.
Yes. Yes. The man himself. I don't think he's going to win that stage, but we can always hope. Yeah, but Van Der Poel?
I'm intrigued to see. Yeah. Van Der Poel, I think he's going to have a lot of. Not necessarily a lot of pressure,
No.
but I think he's going to go in expecting to win multiple
for sure.
stages. Same with Philipsen,
Yeah.
really. I think they can both do that. Van Der Poel, if he's really good, can do
Yeah.
that. I think Philipsen can
Definitely.
kind of just walk it if he needs to. Axel Laurence is kind of my man to watch on that team that's not kind of blown
Okay.
up yet.
Interesting.
He could be a little outside shot for you, the yellow jersey after stage 1.
Oh,
But
okay.
we'll get onto that one later.
Okay.
Because he's a very good puncher.
Interesting. EF Education Easy Post with yeah, I mean, do we just mid again, kinda? Well, maybe a little above mid, slightly.
I mean, yeah, you've got a conflict of interest here, so it might be better if I take this.
Yeah.
They've got Carapaz, Mr. Person to challenge Vingegaard and Pogacar. If you saw the Netflix documentary,
I didn't.
this year, I haven't either. I've watched episode 1
Oh,
and that's it.
fair.
So yeah, they made a big deal about Carapaz
Alright.
being the main challenger
then he just,
to
like,
Vingegaard and Pogacar, and then he crashed
yeah.
stage 1. So.
Amazing.
Bettiol is in his home area
True.
for the race start,
Yeah.
so that could be interesting to see whether he's allowed to go for the early stages. Ben Healy's good, but has terrible race tactics. I've got to say, he's a really fun rider to watch, but he's very frustrating if you're an actual like fan of him, because his idea of winning a race is very different to many others. Nielsen Paulus as well. I'm looking at, not because I met him in real life and he's a lovely guy, but more because he has a lot of potential. And he's kind of come in with a lot of hype, and he's been okay. Like, he's not moved the needle too much. I remember him losing a stage to Lutsenko a couple of years ago, and everybody thought, right, this guy could be one to watch. And he's a really nice guy, so I kind of want him to do well. Hopefully he can have that kind of breakout Tour de France this year.
That'd be cool. Lotto Disney. Yep.
In the same way that FDJ is French, this team is incredibly Belgian.
Yeah. So, trash. No. We have Lee. And a couple others that sort of are kind of interesting.
You circled the right name.
Yeah.
Deli is kind of the only guy
Yeah.
on this team that's going to pull up any trees. Maxim Van Hills maybe, but Deli is Belgian champion, and he's kind of got the form going into this.
Yeah.
And again, I'm going to be very intrigued to see what he does this year. Because, again, rider with a lot of hype. Hasn't really won a massive race yet. Belgian Championships were probably his biggest win to date, I'd say, in terms of opposition and how he beat them. Because Philipsen was in that race and finished second. I think he might be the main challenger to Philipsen, but again, I'm kind of reluctant to say that because he's yet to prove himself at a major level.
Yeah. That's fair.
And shout out my boy Victor Campanats. Like, awkwardly funny guy. I am surprised they left Jasper de Boist out of this team, because he was the main lead out guy for Ewan, and I always used to think that Jasper de Boist was kind of robbed a bit by Ewan, because he would do a great lead out, and then Ewan would just pick another sprinter's wheel. And it would be the wrong sprinter most of the time, so the lead out was kind of useless. So yeah, I feel a bit bad for him not going this year, and I think that's gonna make Deli struggle a little bit more. But I think Deli can pull it off on his own. He's a lot better at kind of surfing the wheels.
Potentially, we'll see. Now, Israel Premier Tech with only really one interesting rider. Full sang, of course.
Who are you gonna say? Yep.
Yeah. No.
What's the kind of thoughts in Denmark about Fuglsang? Is he kind of like what Froome is in the UK? Of like, if you ask somebody about cycling, is that who they say?
I think at this point,
and then you kind of go, well, they're washed.
No, if you ask someone at this point, no one knows him, because like so many people started watching after Vingegaard won the Tour, so now people don't really know him. I don't think, to be honest. Like, sadly, but if you ask anyone who watched the Tour for a while, yeah, he's like Froome, basically. So.
Who incidentally is on the same team.
Yeah.
I am kind of excited by this Israel Premier Tech team. I was scared that they were going to pick the old guard again, like they do every year. And they've got a couple of older guys, like Ackerman. Hasn't really proved himself for a couple of years, but I've not been keeping too much of an eye on him. I don't think he's a brilliant sprinter now, but maybe he can do something this year, whether that be top 5, a sprint stage maybe. I think that's a realistic goal. But I'm looking at the lower half of this team. Stephen Williams is super. Derek G is crazy. like
Oh, nice.
incredible. People are talking him up for a top 10, maybe even a top 5 if he's lucky at the Tour this year, which is something you'd have never said last year. He's been plagued with injuries for most of this year, but he's come back from an altitude camp and he has been incredible in the Dauphiné. So I am very, very interested to see how his performance goes. 3rd overall in the Dauphiné this year and won a stage. Only 3rd behind Roglic and Jorgensen, who are both crazy good. And he beat the supposed leader of the Ineos Grenadiers, Carlos Rodriguez. So I'm intrigued to see how Derek G goes. And I think he will be the GC guy.
For sure.
Nalon's as well is super ridiculous. Like, last year it was so fun to watch him as a Nalon's fan because he would just go pop off, like Danny Van Pop off. He would Danny Van Pop off.
Okay.
Just there was so much. You would see him at the front of every single, like, whenever the camera shot would cut to either the front of the peloton or the front of the breakaway, he would be there. Like,
oh, nice.
He was a sucker for the camera shot, and he was crazy good for the Tour. Like, if he'd have won a stage, probably would have been Streaks Won't Forget conversations. But I hope he can replicate his Tour of last year because he was crazy good. Didn't win a stage, but like he almost won one from a 50k solo or something.
Oh, shoot.
And then another one where Wout Poels won on a mountain stage. He was with Van Aert, Alaphilippe and Poels. So like crazy good climber as well on his day. So yeah, they've got a couple of riders who are really good in G, Nalons and Williams. So I think they're a little sleeper team that might be worth watching this year.
Intriguing. Speaking of sleeping, Cofidis team. No, they have a couple. Yeah. You can name them.
So, where do I start with this team? Brian Coquart, I mean, he's okay. Yeah. Like, he's not brilliant. I think he might be carrying the French sprint hopes on his back this year. Because I'm sure we'll get onto it later. Arnaud Démare has been pretty poor this year. Guillaume Martin is their GC guy you'd expect. Might go for stages like he did last year. Pretty fun to see him go for stages, but I think he'll do his usual GC stick of gradually lose time and then go in the breakaway and gain 10 minutes and then propel himself up to 4th or something and then just gradually make his way down to 8th like he does every year. Renard and Zongler could be pretty cool to watch, 2 young guys. Zongler has Jumbo Visma. I keep calling them Jumbo Visma. This is why you listen to the podcast.
Yes.
Zongler has Visma Lease bike rumours and has ridden for Ineos before, so he's been on their radar of the big teams. So it'd be interesting to see how he performs at the Tour. And Alexis Renard is kind of in the same mould, like a young, promising guy.
Yeah, I have nothing to say. Movie star. Now this, Mass is interesting. For Mola as well, Cabrera. Benji would say Anambur, but nah.
Yeah, I'm not feeling major emotions looking at this team.
Not much aura in this team.
Enric Mas has been pretty average, like 7th at the Tour of Swiss, 6th at the Tour of Romandy, I think 7th at the Basque Country. So likelihood he's finishing 7th or 6th, seemingly this year.
Yeah.
Aramburu's Spanish champion, so obviously Benji's going to be very happy about that.
Indeed.
Gaviria, washed sprinter. saw him at the Giro. He's kind of a sprinter that does lead outs for everyone else because he goes so early, and he does it every single time.
Right.
It's quite funny, but yeah, it's a bit sad at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, this team doesn't move me
No.
a lot. Lascano could be good. Had a very good Dauphiné. But I'm interested to see the Lascano mass, how that's going to work. Just slap my mic there.
IKEA. B&B Hotels. Do we need to say the old name? I don't think so.
They've got a new kit this year.
Oh.
Have you seen it?
No.
They've
Is
gone
it the one-
blue. Which
Blue?
is...
Why is everyone getting
Yeah,
blue?
the whole peloton's gone blue.
Yeah, why?
It's...
Bro, okay, well, that's
They
great.
had a good... Yeah. They had a clear to see jersey, and
Yeah.
now they're just going to be blending in with everybody else.
That's great.
And I think a lot of the team are going to be blue this year because there's not much that
Yeah.
I'm really seeing in
Nah.
this team. Demar again pretty washed.
Yeah.
I kind of hoped he was going to be good because there was a bit of drama between him and FDJ and Gaudu. So I'd have liked to have seen him been good and then like say something absolutely crazy in the media about FDJ.
Yeah.
But he's not been good at all this year. Yeah, apart from that, Raul Garcia could win something from the breakaway, but yeah, Champoussin, Rodriguez are okay. Luca Marzotto is going to be their sprinter. He's probably going to get a few top 10s, maybe a top 5. If he's allowed to sprint, but they might go for Demar just because of the big name.
Yeah.
And Vorkalan's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll just keep at that, I think.
Yeah.
Intermark Avanti. Not gonna lie, barely know anyone. Mindchess, Gourmet, rest well, Tunisian as well. That's about it. Doesn't say much.
Yeah. I kind of think the same, really.
Yeah.
Mine is probably go to a GC. Biniam Diomaye, I want to win a stage quite badly.
Nice.
And I think he could do it, but he'd need a lot of good fortune to go his way.
Yeah.
Lawrence Rex is a decent domestique, and somebody who could go really good on the flat stage or the gravel stage even. Turnerson's good. And they're kind of listening to the team presentation, they're going to be doing a 2-sprinter system.
Oh.
So Diomaye's going to go for one stage and Tyson's going to go for one stage, and then they're going to kind of rotate each time. So it'd be interesting to see how that fares and whether they do better individually because they're not going for every single sprint.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that works. And they both seem to have agreed on that. So
Fair enough.
all the best to them, I guess.
True. Team DSM. Well, let's say it has some of my interest, I would say. Bardet and Bargill, even though they're kind of washed, but the names are cool. Van den Broek is also Jacobsen.
It's going to be Bardet's last Tour de France. He's
yeah.
retiring midway through next season.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
So I think he's going to want to try and do something.
Definitely some stage wins, he'll go for that for sure.
Yeah, I'm thinking the stage win route
Yeah.
rather than GC.
He's not going to try GC, surely.
Yeah, and if he doesn't try GC, maybe that opens it up for Onley or Van den Broek to have a go at a top 10.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't see them really challenging the big second tier GC guys. Sprint wise, I'm really not sure about Jacobsen. I'm not as high on him as a couple of years ago. He's kind of fallen off. Your Danish boy Lund Andersen has been beating him in sprints recently as a lead out. So that's a little bit worrying from DSM's perspective.
Yeah.
To say the least. So yeah, I don't expect Jakobsen to do big things this year.
Nah, sure. Oh, Astana with the boy, the Mark, the Cavendish. How many final Tour de France has he had? Has it been 2? I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
And he just needs one stage, right? One win.
Yeah.
That's all he
needs
needs.
one to go clear at the top. Because he's level at the top at the moment.
It's not gonna happen.
It's painful. It's really painful.
I don't see it happening.
It's clear to see he's desperate for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the longer it goes on, the less likely it's going to be.
Yeah. Sadly.
Yeah, the hype in Britain is going to be crazy for 21 days. I don't think I can deal with it as somebody who, I don't necessarily cheer for England during the Euros, so that you're not going to see me putting on an Astana jersey for Mark Cavendish. But yeah, the hype in Britain would be crazy if he won. It might finally get Britain back interested in cycling because they're slowly losing their touch after Team Sky.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, the whole team is for Cavendish really. Lutsenko and Tejada might be allowed to go in the breakaways on the mountain stages, but they've got a pretty good sprint train. It'll be interesting to see how your boy Mercu does this year. Because again, he's got the same issue as Cavendish of he's getting old now.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that's going to go, but their sprint train is very good. Whether Cavendish can deliver the win, again, I'm not so sure.
Nah, there are my doubts. Now the Scandinavian team, Uno X. A lot of names. Pronounce all the names for me, please.
Well, you want me to pronounce the Scandinavian names? Okay. If you're Danish or Norwegian, mute the podcast now. Come back in around 20 seconds.
20 seconds.
So you got Magnus Kort, you got Jonas Abrahamsen, you've got Odd Christian Eiking, Tobias Haaland, Johannesson, Alexander Kristoff, Johannes Kulset, Rasmus Tiller, and Søren Werenskjold. And the Norwegian viewers are back in. So
yes,
the team is Magnus Kort could be very good. Had a very good Dauphiné. And yeah, another big Danish rider. So I'm sure you're dancing around the room.
Yes, sir.
Apart from that, Kristoff's he's kind of been on that Cavendish trajectory.
Yeah.
Tobias Johannesson's been low key good this year, but like hasn't done anything major. But he's kind of just been sitting and bumbling around the top 10 on GC for most races. But yeah, they've got a very good sort of classics based team. So it'd be good to see them attack the tougher sprint stages, definitely. And I think they could try and get something with Kort or Werenskjold if they go for him. But I just think Kristoff's going to be their main sprint guy again this year.
Probably. We make it to the final team. Total Energies.
Ending with a bang.
Yeah. I don't know a single person.
Yeah, so this is going to be the team where you've got people saying who is this guy? Like, not nicest. I'm trying to be as nice as possible to Tom Agashina, but like, not many people are gonna know you. That's going to be a good big job for the commentators when they're in the breakaways on the flat stages.
For sure.
I think there's going to be a lot of pulling up their pro cycling stats page and just kind of reading off that. Me being one of them. I think I think Steph Kras is going to be interesting. He was involved in a big crash, which I'm sure we're going to talk about earlier in the year, which took out a lot of GC guys. So he's recovered very quickly, and he was getting back to form at the Tour of Hungary this year. He was towards the front in that race, so I think he's going to be their GC guy. Bordeaux is BTEC Alaphilippe, so just keep your eye out for somebody that looks like Alaphilippe but isn't.
Oh yeah, sure.
And Turgi is semi-decent, but again, he's not got that star power to really go out and win a stage, guaranteed.
Great way to finish off the teams. So, we'll be taking a look at the routes and the stages. Just a little bit brief, nothing too like in detail, but like just sort of pointing out like the important stages, I guess, mostly. Starting off with the first stage, which, I mean, GC wise, it can maybe separate like the main guys from like the non-main guys, but it's not gonna do anything huge, I don't think, in terms of like the like top 5, or top 10 in general, I guess.
Yeah, it's not a 5-star stage in terms of difficulty. But yeah, it'd be interesting. The first week stages are always, I find, pretty interesting to watch. Just because you've got people that want to go for that single yellow jersey and just wear it on day one, mixing it with the GC guys who've obviously got to be there for the whole race. It's a much tougher. They've liked these hillier stars recently, and I think it's made for good racing. R.I.P. my sprinters though, who usually would take the yellow jersey like 10 years ago. But yeah, it's a big rip for them. But yeah, I think it could be an interesting one if it's really attacked hard, and it's kind of in that middle gap between the GC guys and the hilly sprinters.
Yeah, for sure. Stage 2 is, well, it's mostly flat, little hill at the end. It's not like a big enough hill though to really separate them too far. I don't feel
it's very steep, but it's not very long. Like about 2 kilometers, but like 10% average. But the bonus seconds could do something at the top of the final climb. But yeah, I think there's just a little bit too much flat at the end for any of the Pogacar types to go for it.
Stage 3 pretty flat. Nothing much to say there.
Yeah,
Stage
nothing
4,
more to say. Yeah.
Well, I mean, a climb with descent afterwards, which Pocky tends to be decent at descents, I guess. So if you want to go for it, you could potentially go for it, like escape on the climb and try and gain more time on the descent. If he wants to risk it, of course, which you might not want to risk it, I guess, to like this early, going fast on the descent.
Yeah, you've got like obviously Roglic, Remco, Steph Kras as well, who had that big crash in the Basque Country on a descent. It was a really nasty one and left a lot of injuries. I think Jonas had, what was it? He had like broken ribs, I think, broken his collarbone and like punctured his lung. So it's absolutely crazy that he's here anyway. But perhaps that might take a little bit of a toll on their descending. I would have said Vingegaard was the better descender last year out of Vingegaard and Pogacar, but I think perhaps that crash might have made him a little more cautious with his descending.
Stage 5. Bob. Stage 6. A little sprinting. 7, 8, 9. Well, the 9 is the gravel one, right? I think, or no?
Yes, seven's a time trial, so
7.
It'd be interesting to see who's going to be going for that. The likes of Kung maybe for FDJ, one of the few. One of the few chances they've got for a stage. Remco obviously has that one circled with him being a TT based GC guy.
For sure.
But yeah, you're right. Stage 9 is going to be very, very intriguing.
Yeah. I don't know how, like, are there actually like gravel specialists, or is it just like, because I feel like it's quite rare.
Yeah, I reckon you will have gravel specialists, I think, but it won't be as profound, if you get what I mean. So, like, Mohoric won the gravel world championships, so he's immediately going to be favourite for this.
Yeah.
I think Fuglsang's got a gravel mountain bike background, but
Nice.
like a couple of years ago, he might have had that stage circled, but maybe not anymore. Van Der Poel, you'd think all of the cyclocross guys you're kind of looking at for this one.
Yeah.
Again, I've got a sneaky suspicion that Pearson might do good on this, but I think we'll leave the predictions as such to the stage by stage ones. So yeah, I'd be looking at your cyclocross riders for this sort of race, and your bike handlers as well. This could be the race where Roglic goes down. He usually likes to do it on the flatter stages where there's less on it. But yeah, the gravel concerns me from a Roglic perspective. Again, you're looking at the guys who did well in Strade as well. So Pogacar obviously ripped the field apart in Strade. So if I'm Visma Lease bike, I'm riding on the defensive for this stage.
For sure.
And yeah, I'm looking at Lidl because Tom Scoynes was second in that race as well. So he could be a little outside chance if he gets into the breakaway.
Stage 10.
Can I butt in?
Yeah, sure.
Stage 10. That's the best chance for Cavendish. That's
true.
the
That is
chance
true.
for Cavendish.
That is true.
I think.
Yeah.
Absolutely pan flat. Like no climbs whatsoever. That is the one that he is most likely to win. If he can make it through to stage 10 and be fit for it, that's the one.
Yeah.
If he's going to get his final one. Again, I don't see it happening, but that's going to be his best chance.
It could be. It's a bit rude, but it could be fun for him to get like a second place. Just, Nah. Anyways, stage 11. Well, maybe a break. Well, maybe not breakaway. I don't know. Bit meh, I guess.
The bonus seconds indicate to me that it might be GC, but it kind of depends who's in the yellow jersey and what the gap is on that stage.
Yeah.
I think it could be the one that the breakaway goes for.
Same.
So yeah.
Stage 12. Relatively flat finish. 13. 14. We start going to the big stages. It seems. Well, I can't see category. I can't see the categories on this one, but it looks like a category 1. The first one.
So you've got HC Tourmalet, first one. Then you've got a category 2, and then you've got a HC finish.
Nice.
So yeah, this is a big stage.
And we just keep on with like another really big stage. The what's it called? The Plateau de Belle finish. I have some thoughts on someone potentially winning. I don't know who. I'm not really like a fan of anyone, you know what I mean? I'm just a fan of cycling. I just love the sport. Yes.
I think this one might be breakaway, just because of the climb at the start. It might encourage a lot of breakaway riders to sort of go in the early move. But yeah, I see your thought process with the GC guy that's going to win that.
Stage 16. 17. Well, this is a category. Looks like a category 3, kind of finish. Can't exactly see.
It's a cat 3 finish. I think if this was like a stage 20, it would be super fun to watch, to see somebody really attack it. But I think with the big mountains coming up after that,
they'll probably chill.
It's going to be a day for the breakaway, I reckon.
Yeah, definitely. Stage 18 could also potentially go to a breakaway with all the climbs throughout the stage. But I guess it's quite flat at the end.
Yeah, I think it depends on how big the breakaway would be on that day. If lots of the big guys want to get in there, then they can easily win from the break. But that could be your sort of Mohoric stage, maybe.
For sure. Stage 19. Damn, what's that climb called? I think Cim de la Bonetta. This could
Pretty tasty.
Yes. Well, I mean, I could see like the GC, like most of the GC favorites escaping on that climb, and then I guess having some like satellite riders from the breakaway to like they could catch up both on the descent, help them towards the final climb, and then go from there if they play it right. But this could be a stage where like a lot of time would be lost. I could see happening, depending on the outcome. But
I agree with you. Finish on Isola 2000 could be nice. It would have been good to see the Bonnet be the final climb, but you can't have everything in this life.
Now the penultimate stage. Ooh, that's a stage and a half. It's only 132 kilometers, but the vertical gain is gonna hit.
Yeah, that's gonna be the big one.
Yeah.
Again, the problem with that Cima La Bonnet stage is that it comes before this stage. So you might not have the action on that one, and then you'll have the action on this stage 20. Because obviously last mountain stage, last chance to gain big time and use your team. So I'm looking at UAE here to really go all in and just shove all of their chips forward and try their absolute hardest to drop Jonas.
Yeah. And the final stage, the second time trial. I mean, I don't find it as like good as last year for Jonas in terms of like climbs. Like it goes uphill at the start, a little downhill, then it's slightly uphill, and then it's just, so I don't think he's gonna gain. Or he's gonna be able to gain as much time, which I mean last year was kind of ridiculous to be fair, but I'm not sure if not sure about the stage actually.
I think to me it screams Remco. If he's not involved in GC and is out of the GC picture, I think I can see him taking it easy on stage 20.
Oh yeah,
and then just going crazy on stage 21 and winning the stage.
Definitely. All right. So, real quick, jersey predictions: white, polka dot, green, and yellow. Let's just start with white, I guess.
I'll let you go first on this.
Okay.
Because I'd be intrigued to hear who you've.
Yeah. So I didn't mention Remco at the beginning when I talked about the white jersey. That's because I think he's gonna crash out. So he's not the comer for me. I could see. I know Ayuso is going to help Pogacar for the most part, but I could still see him ending quite far up in the GC, and I think he could potentially get the white jersey at the end. Is my immediate prediction, but could be very wrong.
For me, I'm gonna go for Carlos Rodriguez. I think if he's Ineos's leader and it's not Bernal, then I think he's a decent shot for white. Again, I'm not sure with Remco. I think if
if
we
Remco's
get a
there
good
till the
Remco,
end, yeah. If he doesn't crash and he's still to the end, he's probably going to win it. Yeah. Well, he will win it. But I don't think he will. So.
I think
so,
Remco's team is a little weak as well, but
yeah.
I don't think your team is a problem with two super teams who will be just doing the pacing and chasing of each other. So it'll be who rides it best and most tactically aware of Carlos Rodriguez and Remco for me. So I'm going to go Rodriguez as a safe bet, but I think if Remco's on, he wins.
Fair, that's fair. Polka jersey. I might. Can you start? Because I'm not just sure.
I can start. I think it's so difficult polka dot to predict because
especially because the
it
GC
purely goes down to who wants it. You're kind of looking at those teams without a GC guy. So for me, I'm looking at somebody like Van Hills maybe on Lotto Destiny is perhaps an option. Simon Geschke is going to go for it because he goes for every King of the Mountains jersey, but I don't think he's going to win it. Looking at other places, maybe it's so hard to predict. DSM, do you know what? Bardet might go for it. I'd like to see Bardet go for it.
I was thinking that as well.
Yeah.
Because if he's going to go for stage wins, he'll probably also maybe go for the Polka jersey since the mean is there, so might as well.
Yeah. My heart is going to say Bardet. My head, I think, is going to go for Ciccone again this year.
Right. Yeah, I could also still see, like, I don't know, Pogacar Vingegaard gaining it just because they're just going to get a lot of climbs at the end. But I would say Bardet, to be honest. So, green jersey. The green one.
This one is probably the most obvious to predict, I'd say. Unless you're Danish, and then that's the yellow. But for me, it's Philipsen. I can't see anybody beating him, really. And I think you'll gather, as you listen to these podcasts across the race, Philipsen is going to be favourite for a lot of the sprint stages.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
For the sake of being different, maybe, I'm going to go Arnaud Delis, and then I'll just give you Philipsen.
Okay. We'll take it. So, the GC. Well, to me, there are like two outcomes with this. Either Vingegaard is ready for the Tour de France, and he wins, no difficulty, or he's not ready, and he abandons in like the final week. That's pretty much it. Like, there's no between. There's no in between. No one can say anything. Pogacar is not as good. That's his dead. Vingegaard is just Pogacar's hero.
Yeah, I'm looking at it, and it helps both of them. I think that it's a really backloaded race. So, like when we were going through the stages, so many of the mountain stages were in the final week. And I think it's going to be a really good final week because I think both of them will have fully recovered by then. But I think it would have been nice to see a couple of those mountain stages earlier in the race, just so, you know, the likes of Simon Yates and Ineos and any other teams, Carapaz maybe, could see where they stood compared to them. But I think it's going to help out Vingegaard and Pogacar that you've got a backloaded race this year. But I think Vingegaard on his own is the better climber. Pogacar's got the better team, but
for sure.
Again, I'm really not sure about team dynamics. So I'm going to go Jonas. Pogacar seems like the general public's favourite this year.
For sure.
But I just think Vingegaard is such an elite climber compared to
Yeah.
Tadej. I think you could be close, a lot closer than last year. I mean,
Oh, I hope
what
so.
was last year? Like 7.5 minutes last year.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be Jonas by 90 seconds.
90. That sounds
Minute
about
and a
right, to be
half.
honest. Yeah, sounds about right to me. Yeah, all right. Do we do the bingo or the questions now? Is the question. I'll be
That
down
is
for
the
the
question. I reckon we do bingo now, and I think
Yeah.
we do questions like across the race. So like
Right.
you
So, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Bingo. We all know bingo. We have 3 times 3. Like 3 times 3. It's on the screen right now if you see it. If you're listening. 3 times 3 table. And it's just about getting as many right as possible of things happening in the tour. It's that simple, really. So, okay, the first thing to happen in the tour is, well, we've talked about already, kind of. Remco is going to abandon the tour.
Okay, going out
Yeah.
big already.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I see it happening. Whether it's a crash or he's just... No, it's going to be a crash. He's going to crash. And he's going to abandon, sadly. So, yeah.
What stage are we talking? A crash? Are we
We're
talking
talking,
about a descent, or are we talking about like a Primoz Roglic style
We're talking the
sprint
20th
stage where
stage.
nothing's happening?
The 20th stage on the final descent. To be exact.
Bro is gonna have the whole of Belgium outside his house, just pitchforks out.
Yeah. But when it happens, what can you do? Don't shoot the messenger.
So my first one is going to be a stage 1 prediction. Axel Laurence of Alpecin-Deceuninck in a jersey, whether that's yellow,
jersey.
whether that's green, whether that's white. I think those are the 3 options. But
Yeah.
I think he's going to really cook something up on stage 1. If Van der
Okay.
Poel lets him go, which I don't know, the way he's been talking, he might do, which
Okay.
has me interested. If Van der Poel lets him go at it, I'm intrigued to see how he'd do. I'd like to see a French guy in yellow on stage 1 as well, just because it's felt so long since a French guy was actually leading
Yeah.
their own race.
Yeah. Skill issue, if you ask me, to be honest. But second one I have is maybe a little interesting one. Bob Jungle is going to win a stage in this tour.
Ooh.
Yeah. Why? Because I like his name. Yeah, that's pretty much the reason. That's it. Yeah.
If any of you have played Pro Cycling Manager or the Tour de France game, we will never forget Bop Junkie. Classic in the
yeah.
fake name scene.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. R.I.P. to him.
So yeah, I like your shout. Young Girls is kind of that low-key cook rider.
Yeah, for sure.
Who, again, you're going to rely on Roglic crashing, which
Yeah.
I mean, with the way it's looking,
It's possible.
could be semi-likely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think if he does crash, depending on where Hindley is on GC, I can see Bora just being freed and going for stages.
Yeah, for sure.
For me, my second option is somebody's going to lose a lot of time in the gravel stage. I think that's fairly obvious. And I'm going to go for Felix Gall of Decathlon Agile Desert,
okay.
who
Okay.
is the guy that is the biggest loser from the GC guys on the gravels.
Could see it happening, for sure. The third one for me is, well, Cavendish doesn't win a stage. We've talked about it already, and yeah. I'm tempted to put Cavendish finish I'll change it to Cavendish doesn't win a stage but finishes second. I'm gonna change it to that.
You want the world to burn. Get it.
Clip this.
For that reason alone, I'm going to go
Yeah.
Cavendish wins the stage.
Oh.
I don't see it happening, but I'm for the sake of drama, I'll go for
Yes.
Cavendish wins the stage.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Perfect. All right. Now to winning stages. A little bird told me, a little bird sang that Fuglsang is going to win a stage. If you get it, because like Fuglsang is bird song. Little bird song. Yeah.
Yeah, I being a non-Dane, I've
Yeah.
the reference has gone away.
So, what stage? I ain't got bloody clue, but he's gonna. Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's gonna. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
totally agree.
Yeah.
My next option, I'm frantically looking up and down this star list as I have a guess. I'm gonna go for. Oh, this is so difficult. I think a new nation will win it their first stage, and by that I mean like
nation.
if you obviously like Denmark and Slovenia and France and Italy and all the big nations have won many stages before.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at Latvia. We're gonna have a Latvian stage win at this tour.
Latvia.
Stroins is superb.
Oh.
Nederlands is also very good. Both of them have their slight flaws in riding tactically, I think. But I think that's because they have such good legs that like they're good. I don't know whether Latvia have actually won a tour stage. So I haven't done my research in terms of new winner. So we're going to change the option to Latvian tour stage.
Nice.
So you might have the Belgians standing outside your door with pitchforks. I'm going to have the Latvian fans standing outside my door with gifts.
With flowers and shit. Damn.
Yeah, chocolates, the lot.
Yes, all that stuff. All right. What's the next one? Stage 4, to be won by a breakaway. That's the one. It's gotta happen. I mean, I think out of the entire tour, my prediction will be that like, let me see, five stages to be won by breakaway. I would like to see that in the entire tour,
Okay.
roughly. But the bingo thing is breakaway on stage 4.
My next one also regards a breakaway. I think we're gonna see on either stage 5 or 6. We're gonna see the breakaway win because the sprint teams don't catch them in time. So I think it's going to be very close. But I think breakaway wins by less than 30 seconds and beats the sprinters. Just because I think everybody will be looking at Alpecin this year because Philipsen won so many stages last year. And I think people are coming in with lower expectations for Cav than they were in 2023. So I think everybody's just going to be looking at Alpecin. And at one point, Alpecin are just going to go, we don't want to work. And they try and bluff, and it won't work. So I'm going to go stage 5 or 6 is most likely for that to happen. But yeah, breakaway just about beats the sprinters on one of the stages.
Okay. The next one for me is I regret this sort of actually. Fuck it. Vingegaard wins the final time trial by 30 seconds. Now this is keep in mind that Remco has crashed out. Just for everyone thinking. Yes. Is Remco's there?
Yeah, in this world, Remco has crashed out.
Yes, indeed. 30 seconds. I can see it happening.
Yeah, I can see it happening as well. Like, you can never discount anything Jonas does in a time trial after last year's crazy performance. For me, I'm going to switch over to the other big GC team, and I am going to say major controversy at UAE Team Emirates. Not necessarily in the doping regard, more kind of, I can see one of Soler, Almeida, and Ayuso. One of those three, I think, is going to get pulled out of the race by the team. And they're going to say that they've crashed or they've had an illness, when actually there's been a little bit of friction in the team bus. So I'm going to go for controversy at UAE as my big option.
Intriguing. I can see that happening, for sure. Once again, going with Jonas. He's going to wear the jersey for 6 stages or more. It's well, we're not actually doing like the likely things here. I'm trying to go more for the unlikely things to make it more fun. But I can still see that. Like, I feel it's still sort of realistic, although not, the most obvious thing, I guess. But yeah.
Okay. For me, my next one, I'm gonna go for Victor Campenaerts wins the overall competitivity award.
Oh, nice.
Just because he won it last year and he's a bit of vibes as a rider.
Pure vibes.
What he wants.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go for Campenaerts competitivity.
Nice. For me, next one, the penultimate one, is surprise, a Danish rider. But this time not positive. Mads Pedersen's going to crash. Yeah. It's just
okay. Is it going to be his fault?
No. It's going to be caught up in just a bunch crash kind of thing. I had a vision. I can't explain it. It's going to happen, unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go for. I've just had an option pop into my head. No. I'm not sure whether I'm gonna go for it. I am gonna go. Do you know what? No, I am gonna go for it. Stefan Küng wins the first time trial. It's not necessarily a bold one, but I think it's because he's never won a TT at the Tour. Fair. So I'm going for him to break his duck. Yeah. Unlike the whole of all cycling fans, joy for cycling fans globally, as Stefan Küng breaks his curse.
Yeah, I mean, he's only gonna be looking for that, like in the start of the Tour, I guess, not really any other stages. So he's gonna have fresh legs as well, to be fair. So.
Yeah.
The final one for me, I think this is the most likely one. But it finishes outside the top 8. I think that's like the most likely one for me. Because he's like
yeah. I can. I'd say that's a pretty decent bet. You're gonna get that one. I'd say. For me, my last one. I kind of want to go out on a big one. So I'm trying. Okay. I'm looking through the start list and I'm seeing what kind of random name can I put on here, or what kind of scenario can I think of in my head. Okay, right. My last one, EF Easy Post. Sean Quinn is going to win a stage in the American National Champions jersey. He's going to go to the interview and he's going to scream, "What the fuck is a kilometer?" And everybody's going to go wild.
Yes, please. That would...
Because the American National Champs jersey is pretty fire. It looks like somebody's been like stabbed and they've put like blood wounds on the jersey.
Right.
So like he's wearing like some crazy American Champs kit. And I need him to go full American pride.
Full American.
I've got TJ Van Garderen's jersey in the background, and heck, if Sean Quinn wins, I'll get Sean Quinn's jersey. I'll find a way.
Yes.
And that can go up in the background on the other side.
Sure. Amazing. All right. Closing statements, I guess, for the podcast. I mean, I have a great one to end it with. The Vingegaard and Pogacar debate is no debate. They're on different levels. Oh, but Pogacar, he hurt his wrist, did an ouchie. Mate, he lost by 7.5 minutes. You were lost by 6. It's no debate. They're not even close. Get out of your delusion. Get out of your fucking delusion. Okay? Right. Cool. That's a clip.
Yep, that one's going on the socials.
Yes, sir.
My closing statement. What should my closing statement be? I'm gonna say just I think it's gonna be a really good race this year.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think it's going to be one of the most memorable, just because of like the whole storyline. Yeah. Both of them are going to go for their third. Yeah. The racing, I hope, is going to be great because the tables have turned. It's now no longer Jumbo-Visma Lisa bike with the God Squad. As a guy that loves breakaways, I am scared to see the massacre of the breakaway.
Yeah.
And do you know what? Fuck all that. That's a terrible closing statement. My closing statement is going to be that Joe Dombrowski is going to come back next year and he's going to win the Tour de France, the Giro, and the Vuelta, all 3. He's going to win the World Championships as well. He's going to make that 4, and he's going to win the hearts and minds of all of the people around the globe. He's going to make cycling the world's greatest sport, and it's going to be the greatest story in sports history. Joe Dombrowski is coming back, and he's going to go all the way.
And with that note, thank you for watching and listening. And subscribe, follow, and all that great stuff. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, we better say this. Yeah. We are doing every stage this year.
Yes.
We are doing a stage recap every day. And we've got something planned behind the scenes for the rest days. I think we're gonna see how it goes.
Yes.
Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. But keep your eye out on the rest day because we're going to be cooking something up.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to be either tasty or it's going to be absolutely disgusting.
Yeah. Either way, it's great. So, yeah. Bye.
Goodbye, everybody. What a terrible outro. Have it as the outro anyway.
Kill me.